Today, we're going to dive into one of the most, if not the most, dramatic events in the entire history of our planet. We're talking about the day a dynasty that lasted 160 million years was just wiped out. This is the story of the last day of the dinosaurs.
I mean, just try to wrap your head around that number. For 160 million years, dinosaurs were the undisputed masters of this planet. They were everywhere. They evolved into some of the most incredible creatures life has ever produced. It was their world, and everyone else was just living in it.
So that's the big question, isn't it? How does a reign that long, that absolute, come to a screeching halt? How does it all get completely upended in what was basically a single terrible day?
Okay, so to really get the scale of the end, you first have to picture the world as it was. We're talking about the late Cretaceous period, about 65 million years ago. This was a lush, vibrant planet, and the dinosaurs were at the absolute peak of their power.
And just look at the cast of characters. You've got the 7-ton T-Rex, the ultimate predator, stalking what is now British Columbia. You've got 6-ton Triceratops, basically armored tanks battling it out. Up in the skies, the Quetzalcoatlus, with a wingspan as wide as a small plane, the largest flying thing ever. And down in Mexico, the Alamosaurus, a 30-ton giant. This really was a world of giants.
But, while all this life was flourishing on Earth, something else was going on way out in the cold of space. A chain of events that started millions of years before had basically launched a cosmic missile right at our planet.
And this thing, this weapon, was an asteroid over 10 kilometers wide. To give you some perspective, that's like a rock the size of Mount Everest hurtling through the solar system. And the speed was just unbelievable. As Earth's gravity started to pull it in, it accelerated to a mind-boggling 72,000 kilometers per hour. There was no way to stop it. It was coming in hot.
So after a journey that lasted 100 million years, its destination was locked. This wasn't going to be a near miss. It was a direct, head-on impact. And the planet's rulers, the dinosaurs, had absolutely no idea that their doom was just minutes away.
So let's go to that moment, the moment everything changed forever. The bullseye was the shallow waters of what we now call the Gulf of Mexico. And what happened in the first few seconds? Well, it created a new, terrifying world.
The impact unleashed the force of 100 million megatons of TNT. That is more explosive power than every single nuclear weapon on Earth detonating in the exact same spot at the exact same time. It's a level of energy that's, well, it's almost beyond human comprehension.
So in that very first second, the air itself is crushed into plasma hotter than the surface of a sun. The asteroid and the ground it hits don't shatter, they instantly vaporize. They turn to gas. And an enormous chunk of the Earth's crust, 120,000 cubic kilometers of it, is blasted straight up into the atmosphere and beyond. And that single event, at that single point, immediately kicked off a chain reaction of disasters across the entire planet. The destruction wasn't just in Mexico. It was about to go global and fast.
And the speed is it's shocking. Just 16 minutes after impact, a magnitude 11.1 earthquake, stronger than anything humans have ever recorded, rocks Canada. Less than an hour later, that superheated cloud of debris is already over Mongolia, on the other side of the world, and within 2 hours, pretty much the entire Western Hemisphere is on fire.
The takeaway here is that absolutely nowhere was safe. If you were at ground zero, you were vaporized instantly. But if you were 12,000 kilometers away in Mongolia, your end came just a few hours later, silently, as the sky itself turned into a broiler oven and cooked everything on the ground. Two very different ways to die, but the same exact result.
But believe it or not, the initial impact in the firestorms, that was just the opening act. The asteroid unleashed a whole series of plagues that would systematically just dismantle the entire global ecosystem.
And this list is just relentless. You have mega tsunamis over 100 meters tall, firestorms that burn entire continents, choking, world-enveloping dust storms. The impact was so violent, it woke up volcanoes on the other side of the globe. And all of that led to a poisoned atmosphere and the final nail in the coffin, a total collapse of the food chain.
So what was that final killer? It's something called a nuclear winter. Basically, so much dust and smoke and ash got thrown into the sky that it created this thick blanket around the entire planet, blocking out the sun. The world plunged into darkness and cold for years. And without sunlight, of course, the plants die. And when the plants die, everything else follows. And the result of all that? Within 1 year,
They were functionally extinct. This wasn't some slow, gradual decline. It was like falling off a cliff. 160 million year dynasty, just gone, in the blink of a geological eye.
But here's the thing. Every end is also a beginning. The utter destruction of one world actually cleared the stage for a new one to be built. And from the ashes of the dinosaurs' empire, a brand new era was about to begin.
So why did some things make it through when the dinosaurs didn't? Well, it really came down to one thing: size. The dinosaurs' greatest strengths, their size, their specialization, became their biggest weakness. They were too big to hide. But our ancestors, these tiny little mammals, they could. They burrowed deep underground and just waited out the worst of the fire and the poisoned air.
So when the dust finally settled, the meek had inherited the Earth. Mammals just exploded across the empty planet, diversifying like crazy. The dinosaurs' direct descendants, the birds, also survived. And life in the oceans, which was sheltered from the worst of it, recovered. The age of reptiles was officially over.
And that's the great irony, isn't it? The single worst day for life on Earth turned out to be the most important day for our own story. That extinction event wasn't just an ending. It was a cosmic reset button, creating a massive opportunity for a new group to take charge.
Because waiting in the shadows, finally free from the reign of the dinosaurs, were the creatures that would eventually evolve bigger brains, learn to walk on two legs, and, well, completely reshape the planet in their own image. That would be us.
And that leaves us with this one final, really powerful thought. Our entire existence, everything humanity has ever done or built or even dreamed, was only possible because of that one rock from space, 65 million years ago. Their end was, quite literally, our beginning.